But that is the review of the semi-finals, guys. So now we get to the tips for the preliminary finals. We start on Friday night with Collingwood versus the Giants. And what a game this is actually going to be. Both teams don't have the most, tall forward lines. They don't have the most power forward in the competition. So I think this is like a really good contest. A real hardened Collingwood midfield against a real, almost youthful GWS midfield. But there's so many people who can go through there and just give them a spark when they need it. Nick Dacos is back for Collingwood. That's been confirmed today. So today I'm doing this on a Sunday. I'll try and get this out on Monday, if not Tuesday. But, Collingwood, it's going to be hard to go against them here. They've got a huge break here. They've got a lot of players back. Interesting to see how Braden Maynard comes back, how he's seen from the supporters. Obviously, Collingwood, it will be flooded with the MCG Collingwood supporters, so it's going to be pretty hard to hear a bunch of booing. I don't think that'll happen. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how well he plays, Braden Maynard, coming back from, a lot of talk over the last few weeks. And I think that was definitely in the minds of the Melbourne players, which is why they were so undisciplined on the weekend. But yeah, Collingwood, I think this will be one in the midfield, in my opinion. I think that both defences are one of the best in the comp at the moment, now that Melbourne have been eliminated. I think this will be one in the midfield. Who can get the ball forward more and who can take their chances. I think this is very even pegging, I'm going to be honest. I know they played once earlier in the season, but that was when the Giants weren't really in the best of form. If you're coming up a red-hot Giants with Collingwood, I give them every chance. I've mentioned that many times. I will be tipping Collingwood, though, because this is at the MCG, and two, I think they're going to be rested enough now that the Giants kind of are going to hit the wall now. I think it will be close, but I think, because Collingwood don't tend to put teams away, but I think a couple of goals at the end of the day, Collingwood will win by. And the Giants, that's one thing that they did against Port Adelaide, which they can't afford to do against Collingwood, is they need to take their chances. They missed a lot of chances in this game. They had kicked, 12 goals, 17 or something. It wasn't a very good performance in front of goal. But it didn't cost them against Port, but it will cost them against Collingwood if they don't kick straight. So they have to perform well in front of goal, the Giants. But Collingwood, I think here, with Dacos back, I think that gives them a lot of more run in their midfield. They're very one-paced without him. But with him back, they should get that pace back in there. I just think that Collingwood will stand up in the big moments as well, which I don't think Port Adelaide really did, or St Kilda have done. I think they have probably the softest run so far of the finals, the Giants. So I think they're coming up against the best, the minor premiers. I think Collingwood will end their run, which, I think it's probably fair enough if they make the grand final. If Giants beat them, they beat them. They deserve to be in the grand final, in my opinion, if the Giants win that. But I think it's fair to say if Collingwood make the grand final right now, it's kind of fitting. They've been the best team all year, so I kind of get it if they make it. But now we'll talk about the Brisbane versus Carlton final. This is going to be a big one. At the Gabba, we've seen Brisbane in the past make big finals at the Gabba and lose them. I think out of their past 5 losses at the Gabba, 3 of them have been in finals. So, the pressure does get to them at times. We saw in 2020 they had a prelim final. Everyone thought they were going to win and get a home grand final at the Gabba, which is, unheard of, obviously. And they choked against Geelong. It's going to be interesting because Carlton, again, are coming into some red-hot form. But I just think at this point, Carlton, there is a little bit of a hole in their game recently that we've known, and that is when Charlie Curnow doesn't get on the board, their score doesn't seem to flow very well. And Brisbane have a very good defence this year. They've got Jack Payne, who looks like he'll play. There's been some injury concerns. I think he'll play. Harris Andrews as well. I think Brisbane can hold up in defence. And if Charlie Curnow can't get on the board here, I don't know if they can kick a high enough score to beat Brisbane. Brisbane are one of the most potent forward lines in the comp. They're probably the best attacking team still in the comp right now, if not anyway. I think they're the best attacking team going into the final series. And I just think that Carlton can't stand up to that. I think that Brisbane can go and will win this game. I think it'll be a couple of goals. I'll say 4 goals. I'll say 24 points. I just think that Brisbane got that more potent forward line, and I just don't trust Carlton to kick a winning score here. I think against the Swans, they played really well in the first half, so they were able to hold them at bay. To when Sydney actually came back in the second half, they just were good enough to hold on. And Melbourne, as we saw, Melbourne couldn't kick a winning score. But I think Brisbane are the club that will be able to, I think they're the only team in the final series so far that's got over 100 points, I believe. So I think they're probably the best chance. Second. I think the Giants got it in the first round. But I know that Brisbane have kicked the highest score of the final series so far. So I think Brisbane are going to be a little bit too potent up forward, and I just don't trust Carlton to be able to kick 100 plus points here and keep Brisbane under it. So that's why I'm picking Brisbane in that one. I think both prelims are going to be some absolute massive games. But I do think we're going to be meeting a old rivalry, Collingwood versus Brisbane, in the grand final. When we've seen that, obviously, 2001, 2, and 3, all those 3 grand finals were played against these 3 teams, and Brisbane were able to stand up against them. That would be big if they were able to do it. I think it would be also really massive if Carlton and Collingwood went into the grand final. I think any matchup that we get in this grand final series, it will be massive. Giants make it, it would be an absolutely... I think it would be the Australian team. Everyone would be barracking for the Giants if you're not the supporter of the other team. I think Carlton, if they make the grand final, they're one of the biggest clubs, and going up against Collingwood, that would be such a big grand final. But if Brisbane made it, again, I think they'd be probably up there with... If the Giants don't make it and Brisbane do, everyone will be barracking for Brisbane, obviously. So I think this is a really massive grand final coming up. I'm really excited to see how it goes, and I will just quickly mention that that's pretty much all we're going to be talking about for the